Welcome to Agents of Erosion by Shane and Aiyana. This is an example of water erosion. What's happening here is that the tide is coming in over here, and the land used to be right here. So what's happening is that the tide is coming in and hitting the land, and as it does that, it breaks into smaller rocks like this. Eventually, it hits those rocks as well, and they break into smaller rocks too, and it becomes sand. This is another example of water erosion. What's happening here is that the water is hitting what used to be normal rock right here, but it was very weak. So over time, the rock wore away until finally it formed this arch shape. This is an example of wind erosion. What happened here is that the wind was blowing sand and dust at this rock. So here's the particles, and they're being thrown at it. Pachow, pachow, pachow. And this rock used to be a large boulder. So now, because the wind only blows so far up, only like roughly 6 feet, it has wore down this rock until it has formed this mushroom shape. Eventually, this entire mushroom stem will break, and then the rest of the rock will fall, and then the process will start all over again. This is another example of wind erosion. What happened here is that these two parts of the rock were very weak. So the wind was blowing at it until finally they just started to break away. As they broke away, they formed this formation. This is an example of ice erosion. What happened here is that this used to be part of a large rock wall formation thing, until eventually rainwater kept pouring down into it and forming cracks, or cracks were already there. So as the rainwater froze in the middle of the night, it expanded, because water does that when it freezes. So as it expanded, it started breaking apart the rocks. Those rocks eventually split apart until it formed a shape like this, or a hoodoo. This is an example of ice erosion. What happened here is that water seeped into these cracks, which used to be a lot smaller, much like this one. So water seeped into it, and overnight it froze and it expanded, slowly breaking apart the rocks until it formed these larger cracks. Eventually this will crack more. This is an example of gravitational erosion. What happened here is that someone built a house on the edge of a cliff. Slowly that cliff degraded, and eventually it fell. The house's water pipes and sewage pipes probably helped this process. This is another example of gravitational erosion. What happened here is that some weakened land off this mountain fell down onto this road. As the small weakened land fell, it loosened the ground, which loosened larger rocks, causing this landslide. This has been our Explain Everything project. Thank you for watching.